Breaking at this moment, we are getting new details in. This is very important, very, very important, about that missing classified binder that somehow left the White House when Donald Trump left the White House. And it was a binder that contained all the information about the government's investigation into what they believed was Russia's meddling in the 2016 election, but ultimately became, as we know, an investigation sort of into how that all transpired with going after Donald Trump and the dossier and the Lisa Strzok and Peter Page, you know, the dynamic duo, the lovebirds, right? There's a lot of information there. There's an estimated some 2,000 pages. Let me give the exact number here because only 600 pages, for whatever reason, seem to exist. Nobody knows where the rest of this stuff is. And that's of concern. It's of concern, obviously, to intelligence departments. Mr. Strzok and Ms. Page, they were highly featured in this document, but there were many other people as well. And allegedly, per the New York Times, Maggie Haberman, actually, she did some work on this story. Very, very interesting reporting. There are a lot of pages missing. A lot. So this is perhaps why people are so worried. Because if he has this, or if he has a copy of this, then he could expose a lot of stuff. Let me share with you the story as it's written in the New York Times here. I want to go to this graphic here. You can see the quote from the New York Times, which reads, "The raw version in the binder," this is the Crossfire hurricane binder that they're referring to. "The raw version in the binder contained details that intelligence agencies believed could reveal secret sources and methods." So you realize the problem, right? I mean, if secret sources and methods are about to be revealed, then Donald Trump could be extremely dangerous, which helps, shall we say, give us some perspective on why you're hearing such hysteria by elite media organizations and people on the left and frankly on the right too. Let's play this. This was created by our friends over at Regan. I've played you some of it. I'm going to play you more of it today. Let's watch.
Every one of us, our freedom, our liberty, none of us is safe.
He's going to have people around him executing against an enemy's list.
Assassinate generals.
Ordering troops to attack American citizens.
Trump's very well-armed and extremist base will try to kill people.
He's going to basically burn the house down.
He will unravel the institutions of our democracy.
Draw similarities between Mussolini and Hitler.
Adolf Hitler and Benito Mussolini.
Makes Donald Trump even more dangerous.
Wants to take away your vote. Senate and the House are immediately going to be paralyzed.
People will begin in their minds to censor themselves. They might say, well, maybe I shouldn't say this.
This is the end of democracy.
I think that could be the end of our democracy.
But democracy is dead if Trump is reelected.
Cozy up to Putin that democracy will be at risk.
The absolute destruction of the Justice Department as we know it.
The Justice Department could be entirely transformed.
I am really concerned about that.
Every person who was associated with the attempted coup elevated in the administration.
If he's reelected, he will curb transgender rights.
The end of the rule of law.
Arrest political opponents.
To persecute, not prosecute, but persecute his enemies.
Take a wrecking ball to the rule of law.
He's going to make the law. Everyone else will have to follow.
A vote for Donald Trump may mean the last election that you ever get to vote in.
To go after the independent and free parts of American civic life.
He would tear down our institutions.
Purge the government of employees.
Department by
and
department.
So it goes. In other words, there is a level of hysteria here, ladies and gentlemen, a level of hysteria unlike anything we've ever seen. I mean, it's always been bad. They never really liked him. But what all of a sudden happened? I mean, granted, yeah, you get January 6th, and I'm not condoning it. I'm still of the belief he should have ridden off on his white horse, waved goodbye, and said, I'll be back. You'll miss me. Because, by the way, people do miss him, and that's reflected in all the polls. But why such hysteria right now? It seems to be related to what they think he might do with the information he may have. Now, we don't know if he actually has this stuff, all right? Just to be very clear. This is the missing binder that nobody can find. Some of it was declassified. Some of it is on some 600 pages of it, although it's roughly 2,000. The 600 pages are on the FBI's website. But when you go through that document, and I've been through it, large amounts have been whited out. So it's not been fully declassified. And the only reason it actually wound up on the FBI's website was because of a FISA warrant. So they had to, Freedom of Information Act, they had to come forward with that. But lots and lots of stuff whited out. So it allegedly consists of a hodgepodge of materials. It's all related to the origins of the early stages of the Russia investigation. And these are documents that were collected by members of the Trump administration. And they included copies of botched FBI applications for national security surveillance warrants to wiretap a former Trump campaign official, as well as text messages between two FBI officials. We know that, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page. They're going back and forth about how much they can't stand the guy. The raw version in the binder, as I said, contained details that intelligence agencies believe could reveal source methods. Now, this is problematic in that there's much more, I think, than anybody knows in there. The raw version in the binder, I'm quoting from Maggie here in the New York Times, contained details that intelligence agencies believe could reveal secret sources and methods. So the secret sources and the methods, that's the problem. If he knows that, and he has that material, and they're fearful that he actually is going to come forward and expose that, well, then that is why you see the hysteria, right? Lots and lots of hysteria. It's not entirely clear here if the missing materials actually are comprised in the entire original binder, and whether or not Trump's team has already learned of all of this. But they do believe that somehow this thing went missing. It's why everybody flipped out. It's why they showed up at Mar-a-Lago looking for it. But the thing is, they didn't find it. So now they're really scared. Lots of information about how the inner workings of the deep state go down, and nobody knows where it is.